Welcome to CasualBCH, a podcast about Bitcoin Cash and SmartBCH, where sometimes we go off the rails and talk about everything crypto. I go by the handle Sayoshi Nakamario and created the website helpme.cash.
And I go by the handle Vin. And I just like to say, I created helpme.cash and I created Fog. You built them.
I got no good comeback. So we haven't really been paying attention to SmartBCH news, really.
No.
Or BCH. We've been kind of busy with other stuff.
Yes.
Both life and our own project, which we will get into in a little bit. Some random stuff that has been happening. Mark Falzone, his Kickstarter
Got fully
funded. So Mark has been doing YouTube videos for like a year or something.
Yeah.
Off and on. Right. And very high production quality videos, and he did a flip starter for something like 500 or 600 BCH.
Is that, you're talking about the second one or the first one?
The one he just did.
Okay. Yeah, that's not 500, I think.
550 or something like that. So that got completed.
Mm-hmm.
So he has another year of funding now.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's a little more BCH specific.
Yeah.
But I saw today he said he's going to a Monero meetup, like a big con event style thing. So
Monero,
something like that. Yeah. I don't know anything about myself, but nothing against Monero myself. And he's not going to just focus on BCH. It's crypto in general.
Yeah.
But
adoption.
Yeah. Definitely worth checking out. He was before the flip starter, he went to St. Kitts and met Roger Ver and checked out all the adoption that's happening there.
And pushed more adoption.
Yeah, and pushed more. So St. Kitts and Nevis in that area. I think they've expanded to one or two others islands as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They're small. Mm-hmm. I think St. Kitts was like 50,000 people or something.
I'd buy a house there.
But they're like, there's Bitcoin Cash flags from the light, like the lamp posts down the streets, and you can go to grocery stores and restaurants
and
it's actually being pushed quite heavily. If you check the bitcoin.com map, I think it's like maps.bitcoin.com, it's at least last time I checked it, it's very heavily around like the port.
Yeah.
Because that's where all the tourists come on the cruises.
Which is the best spot for it, because they're going to come off and see it right away, even if they don't know what it is. It's just a talking point.
It's a talking point, but it's also like they're expanding through the island, so it's quite obvious. It's like if you can get the people, if you're going to go on a cruise in the Bahamas,
which is
Caribbean,
yeah.
wherever. Regardless,
you don't cruise.
I don't cruise. No. If you don't have to, like, I don't know if some of them might use different currencies.
Well, you can go from the Bahamas down to San Juan, St. Kitts, yada yada yada. So you can go up to like Nassau.
Right. So you may know do they all use USD?
I think Nassau does more Canadian currency than USD.
So what is that? They accept it, but is it their actual currency?
No, I think they have their own.
Right. So and that might be island to island specific. So that's a good use case for Bitcoin Cash or any crypto in theory, where if you can get all of these islands to adopt it, if you want to go on a cruise, you just get some Bitcoin Cash and you're set for the entire cruise. Yeah.
No exchanging constantly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad use case to help spread adoption.
But yeah, I've been enjoying a lot of his videos recently, so for Mark's videos.
So in general SmartBCH news, 291 BCH has been burned through SmartBCH fees so far. It's averaging about one a day.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty high, considering SmartBCH doesn't really have much activity going on
Very
right now.
tiny.
It's like one transaction per second, roughly, with bursts of activity here and there.
Yeah. Which is kind of sad, considering how capable BCH is to be like, oh yeah, one transaction per second.
Woo.
Woo.
Yeah, it can grow at a stupid amount. So it's definitely in you're the early stage, early adopter stage. So
painfully early.
Whether everything's lining up that it should become popular, like it's fixing a lot of the problems that other networks have, at least in the midterm, in the fact that it can scale so much just through straight hardware and base code changes without as much centralization in theory as something else like Solana. So whether that happens or not, we'll see. I mean, it's quite obvious that BCH itself is probably one of the better solutions in the long term, but that is absolutely not reflected in the price and what the market considers. So,
which is weird because me and Cheapy were talking about that, comparing BCH as currency versus like Nano or Dash, and how they do so many little things wrong of being a currency that BCH just solves, but yet nobody hypes out BCH. Is all you go through like the cryptocurrency Reddit, and it's like, what's the most undervalued coin? And it's like, oh, Nano is it? And it's like, but Nano's shit.
So why is it shit though?
Because it has problems, and like, oh, they can attack so easy and keep attacking and keep attacking, and there's no punishment. And they're like, we're gonna fix it, guys. 1 year later, it happens again. Guys, we're fixing it. Don't worry. And it's still not fixed.
Yes. Yeah.
That can't be a currency.
Well, yeah. I'm not super in depth in Nano in terms of its actual technicals, but like when we did look at it, it's you're not really punished for attacking the network. The network can be spammed and brought down, or at least brought down enough where average users can't use it for days on end. I mean, we were playing
use it for like a week.
We were playing with it, and that second big attack that happened, like, yeah, we were sitting there for like a week or two waiting to be able to send coins.
Yeah. And that's just not a currency capability. Like, if that's happening, nobody can spend the money, so how can they go to grocery stores and use it? And
yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
In their case, it's a little odd. This is kind of going on a tangent, but...
that's what we do.
All of the coins were airdropped at the beginning. Mm-hmm. So there's no minting of new Nano.
Okay.
So a lot of other coins seem to have like a central, company or foundation or something, and they're the ones that are pushing it. Mm-hmm. So you look at like Binance and their smart chain, Solana or Avalanche. Like there's these foundations that push it. Mm-hmm. BCH doesn't have that. Mm-hmm. It's just chaos. And
people whining that somebody should.
Somebody should do something, yeah, but not them.
Yeah.
Nano, you could argue, from what little I know about it, also doesn't have a central foundation. They might. Like, again, I don't really know much about them. But the fact that all the coins were airdropped gives all of this little group of whales that got all the coins at the very beginning
the power.
A huge incentive to keep pushing it along. And
early people want late people to get in. It's all a pyramid scheme. It's all crypto is.
It is, and like Bitcoin, BCH, whatever is like that as well. But it also has an issuance over time that makes it a lot more fair than just airdropping everything right at the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know. That can probably be picked apart in a lot of different ways. I'm too lazy to verse myself fully on Nano right now, but
yes. But yeah, so that's the thing on BCH. Bring that back around is it solves a lot of issues that other ones don't for trying to be a currency. And then it has SmartBCH on the side, and SmartBCH is very little not used, so it can grow a lot, but also BCH can grow a lot. So it's just weird seeing everybody whine all the time about, oh, the price is so low and there's not a lot of projects. It's like, guys, like, you're still in diapers. Potty train yourselves first.
And then you can start crawling around.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little side thing that we were keeping track on was Cat's Luck. Who runs it?
Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee? Anybody else?
Bruce Lee.
Just Bruce Lee? Okay.
Yeah.
Does he do you know other projects he's with, or I don't know much about him.
I don't really. There's a few other people who push the project. I don't know if they're running it that I've seen like just in chats and stuff, or if they're just like volunteer moderators or whatever. But Bruce Lee's the only one that I've seen like do the write-up.
Okay. So Cat's Luck has 460 million cats staking on the platform right now, which is almost half of the cats token because it has a 1 billion issuance.
Is cats fully issued?
Yeah, I think it was all airdropped. So I think they did a 1 million airdrop to a bunch of random people at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then they did like a 500 after that. And then maybe more little ones. There's also 10,802 BCH in Cat's Luck. That is a
nice honeypot.
That's a nice honeypot. Yeah. Tropical.finance has an NFT market coming up on March 11th, which is about 5 days away. I have not been watching it whatsoever. I've checked their chat randomly and seen that they were working on it and talking about it.
They've been promoting their marketplace since the beginning of their DEX launch.
Yeah. So yeah, check that out. The only things I saw was that some random comments saying they'll have way more volume than Oasis.
Most innovative.
I don't know how.
Features. Yada, yada, yada. Yeah.
I don't know how you're going to say you're going to have more volume than Oasis.
Yeah, you can't guarantee shit. Like, what?
Yeah. So I guess we'll see what happens.
But on the other side of that, because it's not like SidX is hidden, they're also looking at pairing up to do an NFT marketplace.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is a proposal that'll be coming out soon.
Yeah, so I think this has just been slightly talked about in the Telegram group for SidX.
Yeah,
so
which isn't private, so anybody can read about that.
Oh, yeah. So something about a marketplace through them as well. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's a couple other marketplaces that are in the works.
BenSwap has one on the...
Yeah, I think recently there's something about them doing an
roadmap.
NFT marketplace. So.
And there's another DEX that's doing it, I think, so...
That's something we will have to figure out.
Maybe.
We might have to do it ourselves. We'll see.
Too many fucking marketplaces.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Is there any other BCH or SmartBCH things you can think of? There's been a lot of little drama stuff.
Muesli came back.
That's true, and they rebranded to CowSwap.
Which makes more sense because it's milk, and they had muesli, and then milk was their token, but they had a picture of a cow, and it never added up in my brain.
Because you use milk for muesli, which is a cereal thing.
So you have a picture of a cow?
Okay, sure.
I mean, if they would have had, like, the cow's milk squirting into the bowl or something. Anyway, so they're almost finished with their second hyperinflation round because they came back and did a hyperinflation. EmberSwap.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that.
Is a new DEX number
7-ish.
243 billion DEX that launched on SmartBCH in the first 10 days of launch. Rage. So they...
We should make a DEX.
No.
It only has other DEX's LP tokens.
That sounds interesting.
You can only trade DEX tokens on this DEX.
No, didn't you do... I told you. So the idea I want to have a DEX that's a rug DEX.
Right.
And we only have rug tokens on it. And it's the game of, like, you can't rug the first minute, but you can rug anytime after the minute to the next, like, 900 billion days. And so it's just the game of who can get in and out fast enough before the next person gets in and out, you know? Yeah, it's like tax tokens, but rug tokens, where you know it's coming. I think that'd be fun. But the DEX would be a rug.
Yeah.
Instead of a cow, you'd have a rug.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's my DEX idea.
Okay. You work on that.
No. Allow somebody else to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So EmberSwap.
Right.
They launched not too long ago, a week and a half.
Something like that, yeah.
Or so.
I think as of today, they had like another few days or like a week or 10 days until their inflation's over.
Yeah.
So it's coming up.
Yeah. Their inflation should be done any day now. So they're doing it slightly different. So there's sounds like they're kind of similar how MissSwap does the algorithm to.
So they are a fork of MissSwap.
No, they're not.
No.
No.
Oh wait, no, they were a fork of.
The other one that rugged.
SolarBeam.
Yeah.
Right.
Something like that.
Let's check helpme.cash.
Oh, okay. Man, that's such a useful website.
I have been completely and totally neglecting it lately.
Reasonable.
Yes.
I mean, if people want their shit listed, they can just join the Telegram and be like, yo, list my shit. And as long as it's an actual usable product, it can get listed.
Yeah, I'll say I've only had a couple people contact me for things on it. And basically, if you want something on it, let me know. And as long as it seems like a okay thing, then it'll get listed. Otherwise, I might hold off a bit and just have it sitting on the side until more info comes out.
Yeah. But if it's not, like, if it's something like, oh, it's going to be announced in, you know, a month or 2 months or 5 months, or we're not running yet, it's like, well, go do your shit. We're not free advertisement. These are usable products in SmartBCH.
Yes. So one example, actually, since we're on the subject, is Joy tokens.
Yeah.
So they're the little BCH started website where you can play the little web games we talked about before.
Yeah, you could play
You could play. So I actually delisted them from helpme.cash on SmartBCH because they released their NFTs and disabled all of their games.
Which is bullshit.
Well, it's
fine, but
basically they disabled their games because they were done their season, whatever that means. They ran out of tokens for rewards. And then later they released their NFTs, and they said once their NFTs are done minting, they will turn the games back on.
Which is because the tokens used to buy the NFTs go back to the reward.
Yeah, because they ran out of those Joy tokens. So it was like a month or something that you couldn't play the game. So I delisted them because you couldn't actually use the site anymore.
Yeah.
And their minting wasn't working. Of their 10,000, sorry, it was working, but of the 10,000 mints, they did like 300-ish in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it wasn't going to happen, basically. So I think today they said that if you have an NFT, you can play the games.
Yeah.
So they'll be getting, I'll throw it back on Help Me now since it's actually possible.
Yeah.
So, but that's a good example of if it's not an actual usable thing, it's not going to be on Help Me.
Yeah.
So back to EmberSwap.
Okay.
It is just quick overview since we've never actually talked about it.
Okay.
It is a fork of SolarBeam. Launched on February 19th. Anonymous devs, but they have gone through BCH Pad, so they're privately doxxed, apparently.
They went through BCH Pad for Fire token, though, not for Ember.
Oh, okay. So
which is their other token.
Yeah, so they created, or he, or
BCHP.
whoever created Fire token.
Yes.
Yeah, and they went through BCH Pad for that?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, EmberSwap itself is not audited.
They're more known to the community, though. They're not totally...
I think it was BCH Pete?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's the username behind it on Telegram. Yeah. Okay, continue.
So they're similar to Mist, how they're doing like the whole algorithm thing, but they're doing total liquidity locked, whereas Mist does total volume until they have governance in, and then it'll just be the people holding Ember will vote on the farms.
So a little different.
Potentially. Mist has voting and governance out now. And they are switching to a hybrid model, which will be 30 farms based off of volume and then 15 farms based off voting. But those 15 farms
could overlap
if like everybody voted for BCH Flex USD. It would just get more rewards.
So
weird.
It's only 10% of the Mist is going to go to the voting.
Yeah.
So basically it's exactly the same as it is now, minus 10% gets siphoned away to other tokens potentially. So
yeah, and Xmist votes on that every month.
Yeah. So fundamentally almost no difference.
Pretty much. Yeah. It doesn't solve the wash trading issues at all. So it'll be interesting to see how it really affects things, or if it's a way to create like a green list. What's the opposite of blacklist?
Whitelist.
Whitelist. There we
A green list.
I was thinking of red, yellow, green. You know, traffic lights. Green is go. Good. Yes. Money. Okay. So what have you been up to?
So I've been busy.
Yes.
We've both been busy. We are working on a project, both because we were kind of frustrated that there was a lack of projects currently out on SmartBCH.
Yep.
That weren't just more random NFTs with no real use behind them.
Yep.
And as an opportunity to learn.
Yes.
Because I have a background in IT, but it's more on the server side, like administration and not really the coding. So I'm using it as an opportunity to learn some coding.
Get into a new field of work.
Get into a new area, yeah.
And I've got a background medically. So this is a whole left field for me to start learning on. So definitely different paces of understanding the code.
Yeah.
And a lot of time more talking and understanding and rereading, which is why it's taken so long, because we've been working on this for a while.
Yes. So actually, we'll sidetrack and tangent again since we do that.
Oh, okay.
So
do we want to discuss what fog is first?
We'll get there.
Okay. Okay.
So you are not IT side for your career.
Yes.
But you've been stuck with me, so you have some decent IT background.
After a decade, that happens.
Yeah. So as somebody that didn't know coding,
Yes.
but was like the technical help for the family that everybody went to
And work.
How have you found learning coding in terms of smart contracts, Solidity, and website stuff in terms of like React?
Painful?
Yeah?
Okay, not really painful, but more like a slow burn after you take a wax strip to your leg with hot wax. Once it's done, it's fine. It's good once you get the first grasp. But the first grasp is really hard.
Your passion isn't really in this area, though. So.
My passion is not at all in this area, which is what kind of makes it more complicated. Because for me, I get lost while reading the code, or it's like you get to a line and you're like, I don't know what to write next.
Yes.
And it's
almost like getting writer's block.
Yeah.
And just not knowing how to get past the next step.
But it's more like somebody shoved you down a cliff and you can't figure out how to get back up. Because...
Yeah, that works too.
Writer's block, at least you can write a few things and eventually get somewhere. With code, you can't do that because if you make a spelling error, everything's fucked. And it could actually meant to be a spelling error for some of them.
That's true.
But so the way I started was watching a YouTube video. Because everybody does that when you want to do anything DIY.
Yep.
And it was actually a really good YouTube video, even just the first couple hours, because the video was very like friendly to how to just walk through, but it was like kind of cut the bullshit. We get you don't understand it, so let's just make something very simple and just copy paste basically, which I find as somebody who failed math much easier to copy and paste, because I can totally get mathematical equations when you're looking at it and writing and going further, but as soon as you flip the page, it's like, hey, wait, what was I doing again?
Yeah.
So code's kind of like that, where it's like, if I have that beginning, it's very easy for me to read it, understand, and grasp it, which is why I'm more troubleshooty. But just getting into some of the basic concepts weren't that hard. It's just starting a new page is hard. I
think that resonates quite a bit. I think it's very easy to see when the structure is there to see how it works. It's much harder to bring the structure out of nothingness.
Yeah.
Because you kind of have to have that background or that experience with the technicals, like the basic fundamentals, to know how it's supposed to be structured. But it's a lot easier to poke and prod when the structure is already existing.
Yeah.
So
the building blocks you can't place the first few, but if there's already a couple, it's like, all right, I can add on, or I can take this and put something else.
So for somebody that's looking to get into this, is it manageable, you think, for somebody that's brand new to jump straight into smart contracts and learn from the ground up? Or is it something somebody should never even attempt without a lot of other background knowledge?
I would say 50-50, actually. I wouldn't say it's easy to jump in and if you have no background knowledge and create your own smart contract. But I think if you jumped in and you saw a project you wanted to fork that was open source, after watching a couple YouTube videos, I think it'd be very easy for you to fork and make your own project and manage it, and then learn from that and how to manage that project. And then from there, start creating your own. But for somebody who has absolutely no background knowledge, unless you watch a lot of videos, and I mean, talking effort of like, do you want to put in like a week worth of effort learning, understanding, and going on, versus like, do you want to study and actually for a month?
Yeah.
So if you just want like a quick, I got 2 weekends, and if I can get something out in 2 weekends, I'll commit. Totally doable to fork a project. But a month if you want to like start something completely fresh.
Yeah, I'd agree. If you're willing to put in the time for a couple months of just like learning, it's kind of with anything. If you want to, there's so much information on the internet. If you just want to spend the time to actually learn something and commit every day and put in the time, you can do it. With this stuff, it's the same. It's going to be daunting at first. It's going to be frustrating, and you'll slowly build it up piece by piece, but it'll start making sense. So.
Yeah.
So what I would add on to that is, for myself, having more background knowledge on IT in general and not necessarily coding, I found the smart contracts quite simple.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really, it is pretty simple. The blockchain and EVM style contracts at a high level, to actually like use them and do Solidity and stuff like that. It's very similar to JavaScript. I had much harder time with the website side of like React and Node.js, and like I've never messed with those before. For myself, all the website stuff I did was very old school in terms of like HTML, CSS, very basic stuff in the past, and I never did that for work. That was just what I did as hobby stuff as a kid.
Yeah.
So I've spent more time trying to figure out the website side and not the crypto side, which I found kind of annoying because I like the crypto side, not necessarily the website side. So
Yeah.
So I can definitely see after doing this why, if you want to get involved, you don't necessarily need to be involved in the crypto specific stuff. If you know web dev or want to get into web dev, hosting websites, doing that type of stuff, you totally can, and there will totally be crypto devs that need a website dev because they do not want to learn the full stack.
Yeah.
And they are happy in their back ends crypto world and do not want to mess with buttons and forms and all this other stuff.
Yeah. Like make this one up and down, and
Yeah.
like I've seen a lot of people in the chats like that whole somebody needs to do X, somebody needs to do Y. And so people are like, well, I can't do it because I don't have the knowledge. And as somebody who didn't have the knowledge, it's surprising. Like even the one video, I didn't even watch all of it. I watched only the first couple hours, and it's 16 hours total. So I watched like 3 or 4 hours. And just from 3 or 4 hours and then reading the contracts, because just in that first 3-4 hours, you get quite a large understanding of how things merge together. So then opening another project and reading down, you can see how the code works. Which is why I think if you like have a project, you're like, I really love this on Ethereum, because Ethereum is basically BCH. It's a lot easier for Solidity, yada, 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 to merge over versus a different chain. It's very easy to fork a project over if there is something you want to fork over. So.
And that's a case of the infrastructure is built, the skeleton, so you can see how they did it, poke and prod it, understand it, and then maybe add some stuff onto it,
or
rather than build it from
just
scratch.
Change names.
Yes. I mean, MissSwap is like that.
Exactly. There's many projects that are just a name change.
Yes. There's almost no difference in MissSwap versus SushiSwap.
Yeah.
Just a couple names and that's it.
And then like Tango to Mist is literally just a name change.
Yeah.
And they pull all the updates as they come out and blah, blah, blah. So it's forking projects is not the hard thing. And it's easy. Like it's a weekend project to really understand and learn what that project is. And then another weekend to bring it over. So many people are like, well, I can't do it. It's like, well, you can. You're just a lazy motherfucker.
Pretty much.
Get off your fucking ass. There you go.
And if you're not a coder and you look at it and it's like, I don't understand this. It's French, German, whatever your language you don't understand. English, yeah. It takes a little bit of time. So it's like you load up a YouTube video for the first time. This is a contract. This is a constructor. This is an initializer. This is an array. This is a mapping. Like it's okay. I don't understand any of that. It's like, okay, that's fine. Just keep watching. Watch a few more. Eventually you'll start sticking. You're like, oh, that's that. This does that. Okay. And then over time, you just stick with it. That would be my advice.
But even if you're just going like beginner Solidity guide, there is so many like hand-holding walkthroughs. Like there's really no excuse not to get into it. Especially if you have the time to spend a couple hours a day watching a video to learn and understand and just play.
I didn't really mean to tangent this much, but we're going for it. So, so yeah, if you're listening to this and you're somebody that like wants to get into crypto or
more than just to hold coins and trade.
Yeah, you want to actually get into it. You want to maybe change your career, and spending a little bit of time to learn the coding and figuring out if you can understand it and enjoy it. My advice would just be stick with it long enough to start trying to build something.
Yeah.
Because once you see that you can build things and it actually works, that's when the exciting part sticks in.
Yeah.
That took a lot of time for me to get into coding. Was I hated the coding and it was frustrating. But once he actually got a couple things working, that's like, oh, okay. It's like a light bulb kind of goes off where it's like everything's a playground now.
Yeah.
But to slide on top of that is that the amount of money in crypto and Solidity developers is stupid. There is so many jobs out there, so many people throwing money at anybody that can code with Solidity. So if you are halfway competent and you can learn some code, you could make this a complete career change.
And even if you don't feel confident, something like MissSwap and many others that are open source and they have bounties, it's a single project they want done. They have a single thing, so you can take that, and if you solve the problem, then they pay you.
That's a good example of, that's not even crypto specific, that's website dev for a lot of those bounties.
Yeah.
So if you know React or Node.js and stuff like that, that's right there, you can get into crypto.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many different pathways that people need, or marketing or art design for website stuff and marketing and all the other stuff. Like there's many different realms you can get into. It just takes
the effort.
Yeah. Lazy motherfuckers. Get out of your mom's basement. So anyway.
So
I feel like that's a very large tangent that we did this time.
Yes. So we have been working on and learning, and we are, I guess this is kind of the first announcement that is public.
Yeah.
That not many people will hear because not many people listen to this.
Yes.
So this is kind of like a secret hidden in club announcement. Fog of War is our project that is a dual farming for LP tokens.
Yeah.
That can work with one DEX or multiple, not confirmed yet. It is a fork of Zookeeper.finance, which is another project on a different chain.
But we've taken that and we've customized it and changed some things up. And we have some more different things coming with Fog.
Yes.
So a highlight overview of what Fog is. So dual farming will mean you earn the DEX token and our token, which will be Fog. You can take the Fog and stake it to earn NFTs. Chests, which will give you NFTs. Which you can then apply to your farms, which will alter the rewards.
For the Fog rewards, yes.
For the Fog rewards.
There will also be the option to lock in your liquidity for a period of time.
Yeah.
Which will also increase your Fog rewards.
Yeah.
And will lock in the liquidity into the
DEX.
The DEX as well.
Then there'll be, there's a hero pre-sale planned. So for NFTs, there'll be heroes.
Which you can see some concept art for on the picture for this podcast.
Yes.
So it is going to be a mage theme. Kind of reminiscent of the Bitcoin mage, of the old magical internet money.
Yes.
But with a cooler spin on it.
Yes. So you'll be able to use the heroes on your farms, your chests, and ... other.
Yes, there's other things we got planned that we're not going to go into.
Yeah. They'll have some special bonuses, which is why we're doing them separate from the other NFTs that you can use. Because there'll be basically 2 sets of NFTs, or 3 sets even, you could say, that have different functions. We are in talks with a DEX. So when we announce Fog, we'll be announcing what DEX we are working with.
And which token pairs.
Which token pairs for the farms. So there will be permanent farms.
And then more temporary farms, which we won't really go into more than that.
The fog is still too dense over there. You guys can't see it yet. Yeah.
The fog is hasn't cleared enough yet. Yeah. So for Fog, we will release the tokenomics and white paper describing it at some point in the future. It will be an inflationary token with no limit cap. There will be burning involved with it as well. And guaranteed, one thing we've agreed on is we're not doing a hyperinflation period with this.
We're doing a de-hyperinflation.
So one problem with Zookeeper, which this is the original idea is based off of, we've changed it quite a bit, is that their design actually makes it so that the whales in crypto get a super big advantage. And it actually kind of killed
a lot of the experience of Zoo.
Yeah. Like it's supposed to be like a game almost, kind of. But if it is, it's like the most pay to win ever.
Yeah.
So we've kind of designed Fog to be much more fair and friendly.
Or at least
to everybody.
Try to be.
Try to be. It's
everything's still going to be a whale game in the end.
I mean, in the end,
crypto.
yeah. It's based off liquidity, so the more liquidity you have, you'll have an advantage.
Yeah.
But we've tweaked things to try and make it a little more fair.
Yeah.
And instead of having a hyperinflation, we're going to have a deflationary period where once it's ready for release, we will announce release date. It will run at a very reduced amount of rewards for something like a week.
Yeah.
And then after that, it will then ramp up to the normal amount.
Yeah.
So that'll give people time to get into it.
Which will also be a little different than like a DEX that's trying to draw liquidity, because it's taking the liquidity. You take your DEX's liquidity into Fog and it just puts it back into the DEX. So it's not like we're trying to steal from other DEXs and gain people into it and stuff. So it's a different concept.
Yeah, that's kind of the interesting thing is we do not care about your liquidity.
Yeah.
It doesn't help us in any way.
Yeah.
So it can stay in. So even if we release Fog for one DEX or multiple DEXs, it doesn't mean that those people need to actually move their liquidity. Like it'll be totally fine. They can just opt out not to use Fog if they want. It's just a bonus.
Yeah.
So
meaning if you want to use Fog, you have to move your liquidity
Yes.
into Fog, and then it'll put it into the DEX for you, or just ignore Fog.
Yeah.
The NFTs that are being designed are from a group of BCHers.
Yes. So it's River Asia, I believe. Yeah. So we're working with them.
And then because NFTs need a marketplace, we're going to try and go with a marketplace that's on SmartBCH and not design our own.
Yes.
Kind of loop in multi-SmartBCH existing projects.
Yes. So this is kind of a good example of, I don't know how that works right now. Like I know how the NFTs, what like Oasis.cash needs to list NFTs. But in our case, we don't have those.
Our NFTs are different.
Ours are on the chain.
Yeah.
They're not in JSON files and stuff and metadata and all this stuff. So this is an example where it's like, just because you don't know how it works doesn't mean you can't jump into it and start doing things. So yeah, marketplace, we're looking at Oasis and others.
Yeah.
Pasidex apparently is also coming out with one, like we mentioned before. So maybe they'll do something different or work with us to customize.
Or tropicals might be different.
Or tropicals. We'll know more later. It might turn out that we have to have our own little marketplace on our own site.
Yeah.
And doing that, like, I don't think it would be that hard. The little bit I've looked at it, at least to get basic stuff going. So we'll see.
But I would prefer to use a different marketplace because I do kind of like that.
Yeah, if
tie in more communities together kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah, if we can, I will 100% rather go that route.
Yeah.
But we shall see.
Kind of depends on what they allow.
So any upcoming news about Fog, if you're interested, there is a super secret hidden link on helpme.cash.
Y'all suck at finding hidden things on helpme.cash, so good luck.
It is in the Fog section, which you can see the icon for. That's all I'll say. It's not that hard.
I mean, what's the point of hiding it if you're gonna tell them where it
is? It's hidden security through obscurity. There's nobody that listens to this. And with that, hopefully it's not another 2 months till next episode.
Sounds good.